Hi students, it's Dr. Marks, and if some of you are getting weird error messages as you are trying to create very basic things like descriptive statistics and your correlation stuff, I probably know why. I'm going to show you a few things. Hopefully this gets you cleared up. So I'm playing with this sample data set, students and exam scores. And notice this is not yet coded. You've got male, yes, no, upperclassmen, yes, no. So of course, remember the first thing we have to do is create our dummy variables. There's also in column I a categorical variable. So you use the if statement, which is kind of like an if then otherwise, so an if then else. And I've done that. So I've created a column called male. You see yes equals 1, no equals 0. Same thing for upperclassmen. You see that for now I've got 3 columns in my housing because if everything is there, I can decide on omitted categories later, but it might be easier to code the stuff that I'm interested in coding. So first problem you're going to have is that Excel does not like it when we have everything all jumbled up. Let me show you what I mean. All right, I'm going to come into this Data tab. I'm going to go to the Data Analysis Tool Pack. That's what we've installed. There's some other weird data tab. That's not what we're using. Data Analysis Tool Pack. All right, so let's say I want a table of descriptive statistics made for me so that I can decide what it is that I want to use. I'm going to hit OK. That's what I want, descriptive statistics. Now, I need to first come in here and give it an input range, and I'm including my variable name. So watch what happens here. So I'm going to come here and go all the way down and across, and I'm not going to grab everything, but let's say I just want to use columns A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. So I've said, okay, that's my data. And notice I've got this labels in first row checked because I grabbed those variables. That's going to tell Excel, use these as my variable names. Now, you have to click something down here. What is it that you want? I just want summary statistics. And then I have to tell it where I want to put this data when I'm done. The cell right here, I'm just going to grab it. Okay, watch what happens here. I'm going to hit OK. Look what it says. It says descriptive statistics input range contains non-numeric data. Well, that's because, let me hit OK, that's because I grabbed all of this, including column B and column D. It doesn't understand what that is. So I'm going to get out of this because the problem is I'm not ready to actually do this. You're going to have to group your stuff together where there's no qualitative column like B or D stuck in the middle. So you need to figure out what it is that you need. Now, one option would be, grab all of these things and just move them over this way. You could create a whole section where all the stuff that's coded is on the right. That's one way. The other way is you could create a second spreadsheet where you paste the values. Remember, pasting values separates it from that command that's behind it. So that's what I've done. I have copied everything over here. So what I did, and I'm not an Excel expert because we don't really use it as professional economists, but I created I just copied and pasted the whole thing so I had it clean. I then took my column like male and I basically said, okay, I'm going to copy. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to paste, but instead of pasting regular, I'm going to paste V, values. What that does is it eliminates the coding behind it. That way, if you have an if then else statement and you want to go get rid of the yes and no columns, it doesn't mess things up. I do have a video on that, so watch that if you don't know what I mean. But do you see what I mean? Now I've got all of the quantitative stuff together. All right, so let's come in here to the Data Analysis Tool Pack, grab our descriptive statistics. I'm going to hit OK. I really want to clear all this out. Does it let me? It does not. So I want to clear it all out so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. Remember, if you open up this tab a second time, it leaves what you already had. So you have to make sure it's what you want. Okay, so I want to tell it my input range. I'm going to go A all the way down and across. I've just grabbed it. Check. Make sure you have the first row because that's where your variable names in are. Notice this labels in first row, so you want to turn that on because you grabbed the labels. Next, you want to tell it the output range. I'm just going to tell it to stick it right there. That's fine. And then it's going to ask, what is it you want? I want summary statistics. Boom, now I've got them. But do you see, I'm going to get an error message, and it gives me way more than I possibly need, but I'm going to get an error message if I don't have my data in this format, right? So that's a problem. Now, same kind of thing. Let's say I want to find correlations. I can come here to the data analysis toolpack, and I'm going to say I want correlations. Same deal. You have to have all the qualitative stuff out, so you only have quantitative stuff. Here we go. Do I have my input range? Yes. I'm going to tell it labels in the first row, but now I need to tell it where I want to put the output. Looks like everything is okay. Hopefully I don't get any error messages. Boom. Now I've got any correlations, and I can use whatever it is that I want. But guys, it's important. You have to have your data organized in this kind of structure. You cannot have yeses and nos and other kinds of qualitative data in between. So this is what I mean by Excel does not like qualitative data to be in the middle. You've got to have the stuff that you want to work with adjacent. One last thing, if I only want to do something with mail and credits for whatever reason, you have to have mail and credits next to each other. So again, my suggestion is you cut and paste to a new spreadsheet, or a new sheet rather, on your Excel open file, and get rid of the things you don't need. Keep just what you want. Make sure they're adjacent. All right, I hope that solves some of your problems.